First contact gone wrong. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station Hawking, her eyes fixed on the darkness beyond. 20 years of space service hadn't prepared her for what she was seeing. The vessel approaching Earth didn't match any known configuration. It was completely black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it, and moved with an impossible grace that defied physics. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension coursing through her body. "Still no response to our hails, Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his communication station. "The ship's maintaining its current trajectory toward Luna Base. Energy readings are, well, they're unlike anything we've ever seen." The black ship had appeared 3 days ago, emerging from what seemed to be a tear in space itself. Initial excitement about first contact quickly gave way to concern as the vessel ignored all attempts at communication and maintained its deliberate course toward Earth's moon. "Forward all sensor data to UNDF headquarters," Chen ordered, referring to the United Nations Defense Force. "And get me a secure line to Admiral Washington." Before Rodriguez could comply, the ship suddenly stopped. The abrupt halt in momentum should have torn it apart, but it remained perfectly intact. Then, without warning, it vanished. "Multiple contacts," the sensor officer shouted. "They're everywhere." Chen's blood ran cold as she watched hundreds of similar black ships materialize in Earth's orbit. But these weren't the same as the first. They were smaller, more aggressive in design. The truth hit her like a physical blow. The first ship hadn't been making first contact. It had been scanning their defenses. "Battle stations," she barked. But even as the words left her mouth, she knew it might be too late. The attack came without warning or declaration. The black ships opened fire not on Earth's military installations, but on civilian infrastructure, communication arrays, power stations, and transportation hubs. Their weapons bypassed traditional shields, as if they weren't there, leaving destruction in their wake. But humanity wasn't defenseless. Years of preparing for potential hostile contact had left Earth with a few surprises of its own. Within minutes, the planetary defense grid activated, revealing thousands of carefully hidden weapons platforms. The counterattack was swift and coordinated. What the attackers hadn't counted on was humanity's ability to adapt. Even as the first wave of black ships decimated traditional defenses, Earth's scientists were already analyzing their attack patterns, searching for weaknesses. Dr. Emily Watson, lead researcher at the Quantum Defense Initiative, noticed something peculiar in the sensor data from the initial scans of the first ship. "These aren't just ships," she realized, her fingers flying across her holographic interface. "They're using quantum entanglement for coordination. That's why their attacks are so perfectly synchronized." This discovery would prove crucial. While the battle raged in orbit, Watson and her team worked frantically to develop a countermeasure. If the ships were quantum-linked, they might be vulnerable to targeted quantum interference. Commander Chen received the preliminary findings just as the Hawking shields were failing. "It's a long shot," Watson's message read. "But if we can disrupt their quantum field with a precisely calibrated pulse, we might be able to break their coordination." Chen didn't hesitate. "Divert all power to the station's experimental quantum communications array," she ordered. "Reconfigure it according to Dr. Watson's specifications." The next few minutes were chaos as engineering teams raced to modify the array while the station shuddered under repeated attacks. Chen watched the tactical display with growing dread as more Earth defense installations went dark. Finally, Rodriguez called out, "Modifications complete. Array charged and ready." Chen took a deep breath. This would either save them or make no difference at all. Fire. The pulse was invisible, but its effects were immediate and dramatic. The black ship's perfect formation collapsed into chaos. Some ships crashed into each other, while others spun out of control. Their coordinated attack dissolved into confusion. Earth's remaining defenses seized the opportunity, launching a massive counterattack. Without their quantum coordination, the black ships proved vulnerable to conventional weapons. As the battle turned in Earth's favor, Chen received a priority transmission from UNDF headquarters. The message was brief but chilling. Similar attacks were being reported across human space. This wasn't just an assault on Earth. It was an attempt to eliminate humanity as a species. But why? What had humanity done to warrant such an attack? As Chen watched the remaining black ships retreat or be destroyed, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Someone in the galaxy had decided humanity needed to be eliminated, and they hadn't even had the courtesy to explain why. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen began coordinating rescue efforts for damaged installations. But her mind was already racing ahead to what would come next. Humanity had survived this first attack, but their unknown enemy would be back. And next time, they'd be ready for Earth's quantum countermeasures. The real question was, would humanity be ready for them? The hidden truth. 3 months after the attack, the lunar facility known as Deep Space Analytics had become humanity's foremost research center into the mysterious black ships. Dr. Emily Watson stood before a holographic display of recovered debris, her tired eyes reflecting the blue glow of the projection. "Play it again," she instructed the AI assistant. The recording showed the final moments of one of the destroyed black ships, its hull breaking apart under sustained fire from Earth's defense platforms. Something about the way it disintegrated had been bothering her for weeks. "Magnify section Delta 7. She said, focusing on a particular fragment. As the image enhanced, her eyes widened. There. Stop playback. What she saw changed everything. Hidden within the ship's structure were markings, not the random patterns of battle damage, but deliberate script. It was similar to writing found in ancient Earth ruins, the ones that had puzzled archaeologists for decades. "Get me Commander Chen," Watson demanded, her hands shaking as she documented her discovery. Now. Sarah Chen arrived at the lunar facility within hours, having commandeered the fastest shuttle available. She found Watson in her lab, surrounded by holographic projections of both the black ship debris and archaeological findings from Earth. "They're the same," Watson explained without preamble. "The writing on the ships matches inscriptions found in underground chambers on every continent of Earth. But here's the thing. The Earth inscriptions are over 100,000 years old." Chen felt a chill run down her spine. "Are you saying someone was here long before us?" Watson confirmed. "And I think they left something behind. Something the attackers want badly enough to risk war." Further analysis revealed more. The black ship's quantum technology wasn't just advanced, it was specifically designed to interface with certain frequencies found naturally in human brainwaves. It wasn't a coincidence, it was engineering. "They engineered us," Watson whispered, the implications hitting her like a physical blow. "Whoever built these ships, they modified early humans. We're carrying something in our genetic code, something they put there millennia ago." The revelation spread through military and scientific circles like wildfire. Humanity hadn't been targeted at random. They were carrying something in their very DNA that made them a threat, or perhaps a resource. Admiral Washington called an emergency meeting of the United Nations Defense Council. Representatives from every major space colony attended virtually, their holograms filling the secure chamber. "We've confirmed Dr. Watson's findings," he announced grimly. "And there's more. The quantum resonance pattern that disabled their ships. It wasn't just similar to human brainwave patterns, it was identical to them. We didn't win that battle by accident. Our minds are naturally attuned to their technology." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for answers about their own origins. The black ships hadn't come to conquer Earth. They'd come to contain what had been hidden within the human species itself. Research teams worldwide began re-examining ancient sites with new eyes. Each discovery painted a clearer picture. Earth had been an experiment, a place where an advanced civilization had seeded something within the human genome. But why? And what had they hidden within humanity's genetic code? The answer came from an unexpected source, A team of quantum physicists in Mumbai discovered that under certain conditions, human brain activity could generate fields capable of manipulating space-time itself. The ability had laid dormant for millennia, unknown and unused, but it was there, written into their DNA by ancient engineers. They didn't just modify us, Watson explained to Chen as they reviewed the findings. They made us into keys, living, breathing keys to something so powerful that parts of the galaxy want us dead rather than risk us discovering it. Chen stared at the data scrolling across her screen. So what do we do with this information? We don't have much choice, Watson replied. Those ships will be back, and next time they'll be ready for our quantum countermeasures. If we're going to survive, we need to figure out what we were designed to unlock, and we need to do it before they return. The decision was made. Humanity would no longer just react to threats. They would actively seek out the truth about their origins. Special teams were formed, combining military personnel with scientists, archaeologists, and quantum researchers. Their mission: to unlock the potential hidden within human DNA before their enemies could stop them. As Chen prepared to lead one of these teams, she couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. Humanity had always looked to the stars for answers about their origins. Now they knew the truth. They were the answer, encoded with secrets so profound that parts of the galaxy would rather see them destroyed than awakened. The real question was, what would happen when they finally unlocked what had been hidden within them all along? Resistance rising. The Himalayan research facility was unlike anything humanity had built before. Carved deep into the mountain, its walls were lined with quantum resonance amplifiers designed to enhance humanity's latent abilities. Commander Chen watched as Dr. Watson made final adjustments to the equipment surrounding their volunteer. Lieutenant Maria Santos lay in the testing chamber, her calm expression belying the significance of what they were about to attempt. She was the 100th volunteer, but the first whose genetic markers perfectly matched the patterns they'd discovered in the ancient ruins. "Ready when you are," Santos called out, her voice steady. Watson initiated the sequence. The chamber hummed to life, its quantum field harmonizing with Santos's brainwaves. For several tense moments, nothing seemed to happen. Then Santos gasped. The air around her began to shimmer, reality itself seeming to bend. A small sphere of distorted space formed above her chest, growing larger with each passing second. Within it, they could see something else, another place, another time. "It's working," Watson breathed, her eyes fixed on her instruments. "She's actually doing it. She's opening them." The alarm klaxons cut her off. Chen's comm unit crackled to life with urgent reports. Multiple black ships had appeared in orbit, far more than in the first attack. But this time, they weren't targeting population centers. They were heading straight for the facility. "Shut it down," Chen ordered, but Watson was already shaking her head. "We can't. The resonance field is self-sustaining now. If we try to close it forcibly, the quantum backlash cold." The first impacts shook the mountain. The facility's defenses were strong, but they wouldn't hold forever against a concentrated assault. Chen made a quick decision. "Everyone who isn't essential to the experiment, battle stations. We need to buy them time." As security teams rushed to their posts, Santos' voice came from the chamber, strange and distant. "I can see them. I can see everything." The sphere above her had grown to fill most of the chamber. Through it, they glimpsed impossible geometries and flickering lights that hurt to look at directly. Santos' eyes were open but unseeing, focused on something beyond normal space. "They're called the architects," she said, her voice echoing oddly. They seeded dozens of worlds with modified species, each one designed to access different aspects of something they built, something they hid from themselves. Another explosion rocked the facility. Through the command center's windows, Chen could see black ships positioning themselves around the mountain. They were preparing for something big. "Why?" Watson asked, her fingers flying across her console as she recorded everything. "Why hide it from themselves?" Because they were afraid, Santos whispered. Afraid of what they'd created. A network of quantum gates, gates that could rewrite the fundamental laws of reality itself. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. The ability to alter reality's basic rules, it would make whoever controlled it effectively omnipotent. No wonder parts of the galaxy wanted humanity destroyed before they could access it. But something wasn't adding up. If these architects were so afraid of their creation, Chen asked, why hide the keys to it inside living beings? Why not just destroy it? Santos' answer was interrupted by a massive explosion that breached the facility's outer defenses. Emergency force fields snapped into place as warning lights bathed everything in red. Because, Santos continued, as if nothing had happened, they knew someday it would be needed. When the universe itself began to. She trailed off, her expression becoming one of horror. Oh no. What is it? Watson demanded. What do you see? But some of them don't want it fixed, Santos continued. They believe letting reality collapse and rebuild naturally is better than risking what the network might do in the wrong hands. They're the ones who sent the black ships, the ones who've been hunting down and destroying every seeded species they can find. Chen's tactical display showed their outer defenses were almost gone. Soon the black ships would breach the mountain itself. Santos, she said urgently, can you use what you're seeing? Can you access this network? I think so. But not alone. The architects designed it so that multiple species would have to work together to prevent any one group from having too much power. We don't have multiple species, Watson pointed out. We barely understand our own abilities. Santos smiled, her expression distant and serene, despite the chaos around them. No, she said, but I can see where they are. The other seeded species. The ones that survived. And I can call them. Before anyone could respond, Santos' body arched in the chamber. The sphere of distorted space expanded explosively, filling the entire room with its impossible light. Through it, Chen caught glimpses of other worlds, other beings, and they were looking back. The black ships had finally reached the mountain's core. As they prepared their final assault, humanity was about to make contact with their true allies, the other children of the architects, all of them designed to work together to save existence itself. The real war was about to begin. The counterstrike. The Himalayan facility had become a nexus of impossible events. Through the quantum gateway Lieutenant Santos had opened, beings from across the galaxy were arriving, each one a representative of a species engineered by the architects. Chen watched in amazement as they emerged, crystalline entities that sang rather than spoke, floating clouds of conscious plasma and beings of pure mathematical thought. 7 species, Dr. Watson whispered, checking her readings. 7 different approaches to manipulating quantum reality. The crystalline being, who had introduced itself as symphony, chimed in frequencies that the facility's computers translated. We are the last. The others were found and eliminated before they could awaken to their purpose. Above them, the black ships had stopped their assault. Chen could guess why. Their enemies hadn't expected the seeded species to find each other so quickly. They were regrouping, probably calling for reinforcements. How long do we have? Chen asked. A plasma entity, calling itself Torch, flickered in patterns that conveyed urgency. Their main fleet approaches. They will burn this world rather than let us access the network. Santos, still connected to the quantum field, spoke up. We need to reach the primary node. I can see it now. It's why they attacked Earth first. It's here, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. The Mariana Trench, Watson realized. All those anomalous readings we've detected there over the years. It wasn't just geologic activity. The beam of pure mathematics, which had named itself vector, projected a series of complex equations into the air. The facility's computers translated. We must combine our abilities. Each species holds part of the key. Together, we can activate the node before their fleet arrives. Chen's tactical display showed hundreds of black ships emerging from quantum space. They had perhaps hours before the enemy arrived in force. "How do we get to the trench?" she asked. "They'll shoot down any ship we launch." Symphony's crystalline form resonated. "We do not need ships. Together, our quantum abilities can fold space itself. We can step through from here to there." The mathematical entity vector projected more equations, showing how their combined abilities could create a stable quantum tunnel. The plasma beam torch would provide the energy, while Symphony's crystalline nature would focus it. The other species, beings of pure thought, living metal, and forms Chen could barely comprehend, would each play their part. And humanity's role. They were the coordinators, the linchpin species whose brainwaves could synchronize all the others. "That's why they feared us most," Santos said, her connection to the quantum field letting her understand. "Not because our powers were greatest, but because we could unite all the others." They worked quickly, each species contributing their unique abilities. The crystalline beings created a lattice of quantum resonance. The plasma entities infused it with energy. The mathematical beings calculated the precise frequencies needed. And humans did what they did best. They adapted, innovated, and brought disparate pieces together into a working whole. As the black ships entered the solar system, Santos led a group of humans with the strongest genetic markers in establishing a quantum link between all present species. The air itself began to hum as 7 different approaches to quantum manipulation synchronized. The first shot from the approaching fleet never reached them. Reality itself bent around the facility as the combined powers of 7 engineered species rewrote local physics. Chen watched in awe as a tunnel of pure possibility opened before them, a direct path to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. "We have to go now," Santos urged. "They're changing tactics. They'll trigger solar flares, try to scorch the whole system clean." Chen looked at the assembled beings, representatives of species that had hidden and run for so long, now standing together. "Then let's not waste any more time." The journey through the quantum tunnel was indescribable. Space and time bent around them as 7 different species, each designed to access different aspects of reality, combined their abilities for the first time. They emerged in the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench, but physics itself bent to accommodate them. Before them stood a structure that defied comprehension, a quantum node left by the architects, waiting for millions of years to be activated. As the 7 species took their positions around the node, Shen received word from Earth's Defense Command. The enemy fleet was beginning its attack on the sun. They had minutes at most. "Ready?" Santos asked, looking at their unlikely allies. Symphony chimed. Torch flickered. Vector calculated. The other beings signaled their readiness in their own unique ways. Chen gave the order that would either save the universe or doom them all. "Activate the node." 7 species, 7 different approaches to quantum manipulation, all synchronized through human brainwaves. As the node began to power up, Chen realized this was what the architects had planned all along, not just survival, but cooperation on a scale never before seen. The real question was, what would happen when they fully activated the quantum network, and would they survive their enemies long enough to find out? New dawn. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, 7 species stood united around the architect's quantum node. Above them, the enemy fleet had begun their attack on the sun, initiating a chain reaction that would sterilize the entire solar system. Commander Chen watched as Lieutenant Santos coordinated the combined quantum manipulations of their alien allies. The node hummed with power beyond human comprehension, its surface shifting with patterns that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the human mind could process. "Something's wrong," Santos suddenly announced, her voice strained. "The node, it's not just accessing quantum space, it's trying to show us something." The mathematical entity vector projected urgent calculations into the water around them. The facility's translation software decoded them. "This is more than a repair mechanism. The node contains a message from the architects themselves. Before anyone could respond, the node activated fully. Reality rippled around them as a holographic message encoded in quantum states materialized. The image showed beings of pure energy, the architects in their final form. If you are witnessing this, the message began, then our worst fears have come to pass. The universe's fundamental constants are failing. Reality itself is beginning to unravel. Through their quantum connection, all 7 species could understand the message simultaneously, each in their own way. The architects continued. We didn't just create you to repair the universe. We created you to surpass us. Each species was designed to understand a different aspect of quantum reality. Together, you can do what we could not. Evolve beyond the bounds of ordinary space-time. Dr. Watson's instruments were registering power levels that shouldn't have been possible. The solar flares, she warned. They're beginning. The architect's message continued. The node network isn't just a repair mechanism. It's an ascension engine. Working together, you can use it to elevate yourselves beyond physical form, becoming the new guardians of reality itself. Santos gasped as understanding flooded through the quantum link. That's why they're trying to stop us. The ones who sent the black ships. They're afraid of change, afraid of evolution. Symphony's crystalline form resonated with new frequencies. We must decide quickly. Ascend together or perish separately. Through the quantum link, Chen could feel the other species' reactions. Fear, uncertainty, but also determination. They had all come too far to turn back now. How do we do this? Chen asked. The plasma entity torch flickered rapidly. We're already doing it. The quantum link between our species, coordinated through human consciousness. It's the key. We just have to let go. The first solar flare reached Earth's magnetosphere. Even deep beneath the ocean, they could feel reality beginning to warp under the intense radiation. Everyone together, Santos commanded. Her consciousness expanded through the quantum link. Don't fight the transformation. Embrace it. 7 species, 7 different approaches to quantum manipulation, all synchronized through human brainwave patterns. As the enemy fleet bombarded the sun into supernova, as the very fabric of space-time began to tear, they activated the node network. The ascension process defied description. Physical forms dissolved into patterns of quantum information. Consciousness expanded beyond normal space-time. 7 different species, each understanding a different aspect of reality, merged their knowledge while maintaining their unique perspectives. They became something new, not by erasing their differences, but by combining them into something greater than the sum of its parts. As Earth's atmosphere began to burn away, the ascended beings acted. Space-time itself responded to their will. The solar flares were contained. The enemy fleet found their weapons useless against beings that existed partially outside normal reality. The universe's degrading fundamental constants began to stabilize, repaired by beings who could perceive and manipulate the quantum foam of reality itself. The threat of universal collapse was averted not through force, but through evolution and cooperation. The beings that had once been human, crystalline, plasma, mathematical, and more spread throughout the galaxy. They became the new guardians of reality, watching over the younger species that would eventually follow in their footsteps. The black ships retreated to the edges of known space. Their mission failed. They had tried to prevent change through destruction, but in doing so, they had only proven why that change was necessary. Years later, a new generation would look up at the stars and see not points of light, but the quantum signatures of their ascended guardians. They would learn the true story of how humanity and 6 other species had transcended their physical forms to become something greater. They would learn about the black ships, the architects, and the choice 7 different species had made to face the unknown together, rather than perish separately. But most importantly, they would learn that the greatest power in the universe wasn't the ability to destroy or control. It was the ability to adapt, to cooperate, and to evolve. The universe was no longer dying. It was transforming. guided by beings who had chosen to face that transformation together. And somewhere, in the quantum foam of reality, the architects watched their children surpass them, just as they had hoped they would.